To call the Board of Trustees of the Village of Weston to order. You could all stand for Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Whew. Huge audience tonight. Anybody on Zoom?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Maloney.
Here.
Cronin.
Here.
Ermeling.
Here.
Jordan.
Here.
Pincinel.
Present.
Wyland. Here. Zagami.
Here. The gang is all here. Okay. Public comments, any public comments? Anybody on Zoom that has a public comment? Anybody? No? Minutes from previous meetings. Number 4, approval of February 17th, 2025 Board of Trustees meeting. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Zagami,
I'll second.
second by Jordan. Anything on the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Acknowledge reports, minutes from boards, committees, and commissions. You want to go through these, or what do you want to do?
Motion to acknowledge items number 6, 9, 11, 12, 13, and 14D.
Acknowledge by Cronin,
Second.
second by Pincinel on the question.
Yes, page 59 in the packet, this is for safer. Take boards with the following action, moved by Cronin to pursue utilizing 2,400 square foot of office space at the Weston Station for Fire Marshal Christensen and other uses as to be determined by the chief, second by Opal, motion carried 4-0. So the questions that I have on that are, that was in January, so 2 months ago. What's the current status on that? Are we utilizing that other space?
Not yet, no.
Okay. And that's the 2,400 square feet that was previously utilized by EMPD?
Yeah.
Correct. Then, will it only be used to house the fire inspector?
At this point, yes, is the plan currently.
I thought you and Eric might cycle through for office hours.
We may, yeah, we may a little bit, but it's gonna be Marty's home base.
What space will the interns be occupying then? Is that upstairs or?
I'm sorry, what was that?
For the intern program?
That'll be in the front, what was the offices, where the chief's office and I believe the captain's offices were in that hallway.
So that's part of the 2,400 square feet, or this is additional?
Separate.
It's the following month's minutes that came up, that was approved.
Okay. A month that we don't have on here then yet?
Yeah, it must not be a part of the packet because those minutes probably were just approved at the meeting last week.
Just approved last
Yep.
Tuesday.
That's last week, yep.
Sure. Does the Village of Weston board need to approve that?
No.
Our building, I don't know that, like the lease is written to use X amount of, I'm not against it, but I just feel like for a formality, shouldn't that come to the board and the board should say, yes, you should be able to use this space and this is the new agreement?
We could add that to next month's agenda. I don't think
Yeah.
the June 1st internship program is looking to kick off.
June 1st.
Yeah,
I don't want to hinder the operation, like continue to use
No,
it,
no,
but
that's
the
fine.
right way it should be.
No, that's fine. It should be. It should come to the board. Yeah.
And then, so this wouldn't be for the entirety, but for the 2,400 square feet, it was estimated that it would only cost $522. That makes the town of Weston lease look good.
Oh,
Like an increase of $522 annually, what is that, $105 a month or something?
That was for utilities.
yeah.
Yeah, those are utilities.
Okay.
And town of Weston I don't believe that they are charged utilities. They're just charged the flat rent fee.
Correct.
So that would be something to renegotiate with them in the lease.
And then, will utilizing that additional EMPD space render the remaining space in the building viable to be leased to another tenant? Or would it make most sense or make sense to have safer occupy the entire building, less the town of Weston space, or to include the town of Weston space?
Did we not determine that we couldn't lease that?
But I thought too.
Yep, I thought we couldn't lease upstairs. We couldn't lease that building
We had to
to.
be very careful to who we leased, because if it was a non-government entity, we'd have to reach out to Quarles to really for interpretation of our geo notes. to make sure that we wouldn't infringe on that.
We talked about that a couple times. I
So it
don't
could
know
be
if it was
leased to a
specific.
for-profit entity, but it could get leased.
No, not a for-profit. It'd have to be a governmental.
Okay, so, sure, but
Okay.
Butter or Schofield or whoever could lease some of that space, right?
Yeah, a public
Really what's
library.
left of that space is garage. It's
Mhm.
after the internship program, the vast majority of all office space is utilized now in the building. It's really just some garage space. And I think what would make it difficult to rent is that they would have to go through fire equipment to kind of get there.
Well, there's the one overhead door that goes directly from outside.
The last one, you know,
Correct.
okay, okay.
But it would have to be a
But-
government entity.
But you got a point though, to get there. I mean, that back hallway where the evidence and stuff is, that's all, you gotta kind of kittywampus to get back there.
Yeah, we're not using any of that.
No. Okay, but that'll be a good discussion. And it should come back here. Good point.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so, hearing no more discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Acknowledge reports from departments. Do you want to do it in mass or you want to do it individually?
Motion to approve items number 17 through 25.
Motion by Cronin to acknowledge 17 through 25, reports from departments. Second by Ermeling. On the question, any question, Jim?
I do. We'll just start at the top, the administrator, update on the town of Weston leaf.
I'm working that through with Attorney Edie, so it's at the front of the stove, yes. Well, you're on me, can I add something, or did you have another question?
I have lots more questions, but go on ahead. I
Okay.
got mine written down.
Just on my report, with the transition after election next month, then we move into the stipends per meetings. And I did some work with Renee in finance, and for those of you that will go through election that then would be eligible for stipend, we're just gonna have it's a half sheet form. So when you attend, you check the box that you attended and you'll give it to the clerk, that whoever is clerking that meeting, or you could give it to me. But we just wanna have a double check reference of the meetings that you attended with that half sheet of paper, and they'll be available in the back of the room. What's hard sometimes is if you get a stipend now for one of the public safety meetings, those are clerked by the public safety entities. We just want to make sure that we're reconciling that correctly. And so we're just gonna have a little paper copy, a little paper trail, so we know that we've got a cross-reference that meeting was attended in person and that a stipend is due for it.
It's either a request or that you were assigned to that meeting.
Yes,
So like me showing up to HR and finance tonight, no.
you would not have
Right,
received.
Okay. No, just.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Barb, go
I
ahead.
just got one, so. if-
Okay.
Mine are written down. You're good.
Now, you were saying like Safer or whatever, Safer isn't gonna pay this day.
No, we will pay the
Okay,
stipend.
okay.
And it would only be if you wouldn't otherwise receive one. So if they would change the rules and you would receive one, then you wouldn't receive one from us.
Okay.
Jim?
Same thing, update with the village attorney on amending the contracts to include provisions for delays in utility relocations.
Yep, Michael's been working on that this week. So we have we're starting a draft with Attorney Edie.
Yeah, we went over a couple other communities ordinances that have, I guess, kind of some of those clauses in it and kind of picked through what parts of them we like and which ones we think we could actually follow through on ourselves too, because some of them were also pretty restrictive on their own city staff as far as you have to have this done by this time frame before, and then the utility gets so much time, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then parks, Sean's here. There you go. I didn't see a budget report for the Friends of Kennedy Park. Do we have one?
Updated one?
Yes.
It should be current with the last report. So the 766 with the 25. And then an additional 3,000 from room tax possibly, which I don't know if it's been approved yet.
Not till next month. That would be for April's.
I'm talking Friends of Kennedy Park. So how many dollars have been raised to date with the Friends of Kennedy Park?
So the 25,000 plus the, two $500 donations.
Yeah, we're still around that 25,000. We get that quarterly from them, so that was for January. We'll have to get an updated dollar amount of where they're at, but I don't know that it's substantially different than the last one.
Okay, so we'll see that quarterly then?
Quarterly,
And that
that's,
will be in the
It-
parks report, cause the Kennedy thing was peeled. We used to have an agenda item for that and that's gone now.
yeah, so the total dollar amount you will see as part of the report. You won't see the individual contributions. You won't see that exact printout from the community foundation, but you'll see a total dollar amount quarterly.
And will it show dollars out as well, right? So if there were $25,000 in and we paid $500 for marketing or something, will it show dollars in, dollars out? Will it be like the really good stuff Jessica does? That had the cool notes in the tab that we could follow really easy?
Yeah,
No,
well,
won't be that
it won't
good?
look just like that, no, but we could, if there were dollars spent out, we can have dollars spent out. I mean, there is obviously the facilitation cost through the community foundation, right?
But that would be reflected in your budget report, right?
And then it would be reflected in the total.
$25,000 in and we spend 5% in admin fees and we spend $500 into this, so the current checkbook has X in it, right?
Yes, quarterly.
Are you talking like REI too and different consulting?
We're
stuff
paying
too?
REI.
Right?
That came,
Yeah.
that was part of the
Okay.
766.
So my actual question was for Friends of Kennedy Park, but that leads me into my next question of actual Kennedy Park Kennedy Park global expenditures to date. What does that look like, dollars in, dollars out? Will we have that budget report next to it? Or in accordance with it?
We can work to put together something that reflects that, yes.
Okay.
But again, that piece with the friends will be kept separate and given quarterly.
Okay.
You won't see that on our financial statements at all.
Okay.
I'm sorry, they'll also have to include the Dine for Cause and her cause and
Yes.
then approach you.
Which that one right to the Friends though, right?
Yes, the friends
That's not
take care of
separate
that, pick up the
entity.
check and deposit it, yes. I don't know what they made for Bruise Brothers. We knew what they had made for Politos, so.
I think it was $800, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had it in my report.
Oh,
$800.
thank you.
It was 800.
And 270 from,
Politos.
Yeah, when is the next scheduled Friends of Kennedy Park meeting?
We actually just met today in a small group to talk about some things. I don't know when the Friends group alone is meeting. I don't know if they have a next scheduled date, but we talked about quite a few things. Trustee Weiland, myself, Sarah Olson and Marcus Nelson today. Do you want to cover some of that?
Can we? Because it's not on the agenda.
Well, I think we can cover some of it under Parks update, yes?
Mhm. So under reports, like right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was gonna say the same thing.
So,
Just dovetail off of that.
yeah, okay. I guess I just took some random notes, but so Marcus from Goful Nelson is going to be working with us for the strategic plan. And we had talked about, gosh, we talked about so much, but this
Did you-
just
Did you
happened
talk
at
about a
noon, so.
contract? Did you talk about a contract?
Well, he decided that he presented a contract, but what we're going to do is either or
A
I-
material?
or
Okay.
project,
Okay.
per project.
Good.
So he'll be working on a strategic plan. We also will be looking into a 3D printer to be used for JARs, something, some visual, something tangible for awareness of the project.
One of the parents has a 3D printer, so we'll be talking to them. We're not gonna invest in one, that's just.
You know, we'll provide materials or whatever we need to there. And revising the community foundation description on the village link. Updating our website, the village website, to two donate buttons, one on top, one on the bottom, depending on if you're using your mobile device, just easier to get to.
Want to mention we had the meeting with Representative Schneider?
Yeah, and that went well, and, I guess we presented this, this letter to Patrick. And he's going to take it to the legislation and ask for approval, for 7 million. And I guess that's, in the ask letter, we decided to hold off on that, just because other ask letters are going out, for softball, baseball, and hockey right now, so we don't want to overlap. Did I miss anything?
The Friends submitted an additional $10,000 to Sports Authority for a grant just recently too. We may have other big news to share, but it's not quite ready yet.
And tourism is next month?
Next month.
Okay.
What construction is planned in 2025 and when will it begin?
The, what are they called? Fields 4 and 5. So the field in between the skate park and the aquatic center. And then the field just north of that, south of the big field, east of field 2. There was a donor that is, wanted to make field 2 happen, the second field happen. So, this afternoon, I got updated grading plans from REI. Structural plans are nearly done. So if everything looks good in the next, probably week and a half, we'd get that out to bid. And hopefully are awarding a construction contract at our April board meeting.
And that kind of stuff will show in this. We peeled the Kennedy thing off, but it's a huge project and I feel like maybe it could go back on the board, or if that's not it, maybe can you make a separate section and line item so that we can get all these details of $15 million plus project that maybe warrants more than a couple lines in a director's report, right? That's all I have for parks.
Just real quick, I want to just on parks. I just want to remind the tourism commission that, you know, we have this $10,000 ceiling that apparently they went to for the park, you know, for the Friends of Kennedy. But we went to several $100,000 for Green Hack. So if we can do 10,000, if that's a doable thing from tourism, then I just want to remind everybody on tourism that we could also do more for something like this.
Yes, likely the
Okay.
Friends would.
I know, but sometimes we get stuck on that 10,000 here. And I sometimes think there's, you know, there's too many things that are so close to 10,000 that I think some things warrant way more, but we always hold at 10. I just want to give everybody a month in the back of their mind before we have that, you know, we gave almost, I think, 400,000 to, and very well deserved a Green Hack Turner.
I don't know if it was 400,000.
Wasn't it 200 twice?
I just got a question on that last week.
I thought it was 200 twice plus 75,000. No?
I don't think it was that.
Well, let's just say it's over 200. I remember that was the first ask. So just so we know, Jim, go ahead. I didn't mean to talk that much.
That's good. And then planning, what's the anticipated start date for the new planning position? We got a vacancy for, be coming up on 4 months here.
We have second interviews this week, so
On 2?
there's 3 second interviews.
Oh, you had 4 interviews and you have 3 second? Good,
They're
excellent,
taking a test. The first one is tomorrow.
excellent.
So it just depends on the person, I guess. Some could start immediately. I think one was like a month. Is that it? So just depends on who.
So the next 45 to 60 days, we should have somebody in that seat.
I would say, yeah, by May.
And the last questions I have are for technology. Ralph Nate's.
Nate's on.
He's technologying his way in here. Good.
Yep.
Nate, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You mentioned streets using an iPad app. Was that a generic term? Or I know we talked about surfaces versus iPads. Are we building 2 different apps or did we go to all iPads?
This app would be for iPads.
And it won't work on the Surface, obviously, right?
No, it could work on it. It's not iPad dependent. It can work on a web browser of any type of computer as well.
Excellent. And then if you have an update on the phones to the EMPD building, are those, I know that was a big problem, right, for Chief Hunt to move that stuff and they.
Yeah, we have not been billed from TDS probably for 8 months, I think, maybe. That was last summer that we ironed that out. I guess I'm not sure where Mountain Bay Metro is with their phone situation and what they've decided to do, but I know we're all taken care of on our side.
Is that still hanging out, or that's, I know it's tricky to get the stuff changed over and there's different numbers and whatever, right?
So it's kind of a little bit of a double-edged sword. So we worked really hard with them to try to get it installed in our building. It's IP phones and we have analog phones. And we ran into some problems with trying to get them into our system. And we kind of just put everything on hold, and they were nice enough just to put it on hold for right now until we know what the plan is in the new building, and then try to use them in the new building to make up the difference on it.
Good enough. Yeah. That's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Okay,
I have one real quick.
okay, go ahead.
Michael, the stoplights at Mesker and Schofield, or do we have a timeline on that arm that's still missing?
I think it's still April. I haven't heard an update. It was mid-April last time, so,
Okay, I was just curious. I just noticed today it still wasn't there, so.
yeah.
Just thought I'd ask.
I along with some other residents, I believe, I think they've been there already. I'm so used to them already. I just can't believe it. It's just such a natural spot for them, so I haven't come to a screeching halt at all or nothing like that, so. Anyway, I think they look great. Okay, so, let's see, motion to acknowledge. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Work, product transmittals, 26, acknowledge February building permit, acknowledge code enforcement report, acknowledge February budget status. If anybody has any questions on those, we'll take them separately. Otherwise, if you want to do them all three, go ahead.
Motion to acknowledge 26, 27, and 28.
Motion by Ermeling, second by Wyland. Anything on the question? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. A consent agenda. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve items number 30 and 31.
Motion to approve 30 and 31 agenda items by Cronin, second by Ermeling. Anything on the discussion? I don't remember seeing the weights and measures like that unless I missed it in the past. I didn't realize that it was done that much by each individual farmer's market one. So pretty cool. Did it get only done once, or do they get certified several times a year?
Well, they get certified once, don't they, annually?
Weights and measures, are we
Yeah.
talking about? Yeah, every year.
Just once? Okay. Motion to approve, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Ordinances, number 33, ordinance number 25-003. An ordinance amending chapter 34 fire prevention and protection, article 2 fire prevention, section 34.214 general fire safety requirements of the municipal code for the village of Weston, Marathon County, Wisconsin. What's your pleasure?
To approve ordinance number 5-003, amending chapter 34 fire prevention and protection, article 2 fire prevention, section 34.214 general fire safety requirement.
Motion approved by Zagami. Second. Second by Ermeling. Anybody on the question?
I have one real quick.
Go ahead.
I know there was a lot of discussion at Clips about this. Are you okay with the wording for the Knox box and everything as it's written here?
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, but it's not a huge issue for us to deal with.
Okay. When you say it's not ideal, is there something that you would have preferred to see?
Well, I mean, like we talked about in Clips, is that my biggest concern is that if we damage a door, which inevitably we will, then those property owners are gonna expect the safer to pay for it. That's my biggest concern. And that's one of the ideas behind the Knox box. But like I said, it's not the end of the world. We will work around that the best that we can.
The committee member Lopes Sorero did vote no on this. He did
Yes, he did.
send me an email and he just wanted to make sure that that was noted. Cause he had asked the same question of chief at the meeting and he asked me if I would mention that at the meeting if he couldn't attend tonight, that he was a no vote on the change.
Right, so what is the reasoning for this change in terminology? I'm just questioning that. I mean, if we've got our fire chief saying that he's not necessarily comfortable with this, or it's not ideal, we have another committee member that said no. I'm questioning why the change.
To be frank about it, our fire inspectors, at one time refused to sign off on your fire inspection if you didn't have a Knox box, even on a recently constructed building. That was not required to have a Knox box per this code. If the building does not have a sprinkler system, does not have a fire suppression system, does not have an elevator, and is not occupied on 24 hours a day or have difficult access because of security, there's no reason. Caribou Coffee was used as an example where they're not gonna be in there at midnight cooking coffee. And if there's smoke rolling on the roof at midnight, yeah, you should probably knock the door down and put the thing out. If it's 10 o'clock in the morning and there's smoke rolling out of the door, there's probably gonna be people in there that you can get in. But they shouldn't be unreasonably burdened with having to get a Knox box, even though they went through all the planning and permitting here in the village of Weston. They have no fire, they have no elevator that the fire department has to get access to. And it's taking on your own risk. There were other things and there were other changes in here that were made as well. The Knox box is just one small thing. There was discussion on numbering of doors. This building we're sitting in doesn't meet the standard for door numbering. And while it makes perfect sense on a large building like this building doesn't even meet the specification. And we are the policing entity of it, right? So we didn't even build our own building to that spec 5 years ago. And now you're gonna expect a developer in a for-profit business that has to justify every dollar that he spends to build it that way. It just doesn't make sense.
I would tend to agree, but I think Caribou Coffee is kind of an extreme scenario. So while I understand what you're saying, I think there are situations where it would be warranted, even though no matter how you write this ordinance, it's not gonna be black and white. You're not gonna satisfy every single situation to a T. So I understand what you're saying. Josh, if there's a problem, can they come to you and ask for you to take a look at it if they don't agree with what Marty has said? I mean, I guess what's the procedure for that?
It could, that's only come up one instance that I'm aware of. Currently, the code says that a Knox box is required if access is difficult because of security. So that leaves it a little bit open to interpretation, where that if the building is locked up at 3 o'clock in the morning, then access is difficult because of security. So that, that's where it becomes the catch-all, I guess, for lack of a better word, of where, yeah, realistically, every building could be required to have a Knox box. If that's how the fire marshal.
If you break a house, you break a door down on a house, they would never expect you to pay for that door.
Oh, they absolutely do.
You're kidding me.
No, we scratched glass on a door 2 years ago and the people made us pay for it.
And you need to come in and put the fire out. You gotta get access to the building, a house, residential. And they're expecting you to pay to where you made access.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so bad, but the issue is because the more often issues are if there's a very small incident in the house. So let's say it's a very small fire or there's no incident at all. But somebody calls us. So somebody calls us at 2 a.m. and say, hey, I smell something burning. And maybe we get there and we smell something burning from the outside too, but the people are in Florida. So at that point, we have two options. We can break into the house or we can go back to the station and hope it doesn't burn down. So we are obviously going to force our way into the house. And if we get into the house and we're like, oh yeah, it was just the belt that burned up on their furnace, but now we broke down their $1,200 door, we're getting a phone call and they want $1,200 to fix their door.
Okay.
So the wording that's on here where access is difficult because of security, that's the wording that's recommended by Knox, correct?
Yeah, that's the recommended terminology for ordinance from Knox.
Departments across the country use.
I can't say that they all do, but it's very common, yes.
Municipalities, I should say.
Yes. I'm sure there are agencies that massage it, but commonly it's used.
So what we're setting is the minimum standard, just like in building code, the minimum standard is, I don't know, R19 insulation in the walls. Nothing prohibits me from putting R34 insulation in the walls if I want to. I can build more than the bare minimum. So this is the absolute bare minimum. You could at your house put 5 Knox boxes on it if you want to and get the fire department, let them know that you've got it. They'll log it in their outfit and it's there. You're not required in residential to have a Knox box. This is not, all this is doing is removing the ambiguous language to prevent bullying from a fire inspector that you must have it because I think your building's hard to get into.
What other situations besides Caribou did this happen?
I can tell you my building, 3 inspections. It was personally, and I was trying to keep this out of it, but you asked, so here you go. Fire Inspector Christensen came to my store and refused to certify my deal. Actually had a talk with Chief Finke and Administrator Gabert about it. It has since been fixed after the 3rd one. But I built my building to the specification of the Village of Weston. I went through all the permitting and planning and I got beat up a lot, more than anyone else in the village. And so then, once I built it exactly how you wanted me to build it, then you're gonna come to me and say, no, Jim, we're not gonna certify this because you don't have a Knox box. When you don't need one by the state. The state says you don't have a fire suppression system, you don't have an elevator, and you have a sprinkler system, you don't have an alarm. There's no reason you have to have one, but I think it's too hard to get in your building after hours, so security is difficult, so you have to have one. I don't work in that building after hours.
Do you have one?
I do not have one,
Okay.
nor will I get one.
I'm gonna dovetail with Jim here. Merrill, by the way, has 10,000 people, not 5.
Oh,
So just so you know. But we fought for about 2 years with Merrill. But we have a food safety issue up there. I don't want anybody in that building. If that building's closed, and if there's a fire, go ahead and break in. But we weren't gonna put a lock on there. We weren't gonna have, I don't know who, open up that lock and get in that building with the food safety issues that we have. And period, we're just not gonna do it. And to this day, we don't have a lockbox. So, yeah, I didn't agree with it either. I didn't want to have it on there, so. All right, so where are we? We got,
You have a motion on the floor.
yeah, we do. You're gonna go?
I did put it in my bill.
You didn't either? Yeah.
I did.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Well, some do, some don't.
It's-
So it's a
I
preference.
asked, I asked a tenant if they want to put the
Mhm.
knockbox and put the key in there. And everybody agreed with it, so.
Mhm. Grocery stores, we all had lock boxes. We did that. I had no issues with that, but with what we're doing in Merrill, it's different. So anyway, all right, so the question's kind of been called. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So no,
Correct.
So motion carried, 6-1, Cronin with a negative vote. 34, ordinance number 25-004, an ordinance amending chapter 38, health and sanitation of the municipal code for the village of Weston, Marathon County, Wisconsin. What's your pleasure?
Vote to approve ordinance 25-004, amending chapter 38, health and sanitation as presented.
Motion by Pincinel,
Okay.
second by Wyland. Anything on the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? So carried. 35, ordinance number 25-005. An ordinance to approve the rezoning of Prohaska Park from AR agricultural and residential and RR5 rural residential 5 acre to PR Parks and Recreation zoning district, Village of Weston, Marathon County, Wisconsin.
Motion to approve ordinance number 25005.
Motion to approve by Cronin,
Second?
second by Wyland. Anything on the discussion? Jim?
Wasn't it like 2015-ish that we bought this property?
2017, I believe.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So why 8 years to rezone it?
Because we didn't do any, there was no use of it as a park. And the Park and Rec Committee has encouraged use of that area by the public. So now that we have it completely open to the public, we'd like to rezone it for.
And signs, it's never been signed, yeah.
Right.
It's kind of been a question, I mean, it was donated by the family.
No, it wasn't donated.
Oh, okay, all right, sorry.
We
Sorry.
paid a good price for it.
Oh, okay, oh, that was, oh yeah, that was that administrator, that's right, okay. So there, is that, you have another one? Or is that good?
That is all.
All right, we have a motion on the floor, motion to approve, all say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Resolution 2025-002 regarding fishing on the ponds at Prohaska Family Memorial Park. Pleasure.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve by Wyland,
Second.
second by Pincinel.
Question,
Okay, questions, Hushain?
do we have all the safety sign and everything on set? If somebody fall down in the pond and
So we've gone through this before with the pond on Tricia. We went from fencing the entire thing to signing it to nothing. So literally, you're best off not putting anything on there as far as no swimming, no et cetera, just because you increase your liability as soon as you claim that there is a hazard there. So.
So by not acknowledging. is the
Right,
best
if
way.
you're acknowledging there's a hazard, then you have to do something to negate it. So if you have a facility that's available for use and you don't do anything with it, you're better off. The Trish Pond, like I said, has been fenced. Barb's been around here long enough. It was fully fenced. It was signed and then completely removed. And it was all based on attorney referrals.
the problem with this park is it's someplace nobody knows who's there at any given time.
And
Not a small little pond.
even with Trisha, I mean, we had a 14-year-old fall through a few years ago. Fortunately, the neighbors were close. Yes, but he fell through the ice. And it's a hazard of being on ice no matter what, because, you know, ice is never safe, they consider. So, I don't think that there'd be any requirements as far as signing it. But I mean, we can check with the attorney just to verify, but, anytime
We
you,
should do our homework, check with everybody, whatever, to make sure we cross all the T. And we are all right. And nobody gonna sit in there and say you guys didn't do your job.
Well, by not acknowledging it, the minute you said that, and I'm kind of going with you on that, I'm thinking, okay, all the street signs, all the speeding limit signs, just by not acknowledging the road or the speed limits, we could save a ton of money. And I know it's sarcastic, but
I mean, and there's lots of bodies of water,
yeah.
a lot of parks on bodies of water, and you don't see signage.
Well, we don't have signs on the river. You know, the Eau Claire River going through Weston, we don't have signs all over the place.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean.
swim at your own risk, don't fall
Eagle-
in, yeah.
Eagles Club, man-made, I mean, there's no signage as far as
Yep. Okay.
that. So I can't imagine that other departments would not acknowledge that in one way or another.
Quick question.
Yep, more?
Why are we not allowing fishing?
So that was a previous resolution that was passed by the board. That they did not want to open the ponds up for fishing. A lot of it had to do with we were trying to get special regulations, you know, overfishing, et cetera. A lot of it had to do more with the Mashuda Pond than it did with Prohaska. Was that, you know, there was a previous game warden that oversaw the previous Mashuda Pond and was afraid that if it would get fished out.
Yes.
The DNR did state that it would never get fished out. It may get depleted to an extent, but it'll never get fished out. So at that point, they just made the decision, the board did, to not allow fishing in any of the ponds.
There was other issues with people walking across or parking at the businesses.
Yeah, so Premier Sports was there at that time, and there was people accessing the pond over there that, you know, and now it's under private ownership, so.
Right. Jim?
Is the park currently signed that fishing is prohibited? Looks like
No,
we enacted
it's
this in
not.
2018, but it was
It's
just
not.
like we just file this thing and we won't tell anybody about it. And
Yeah, there was signage over at the Mashuda property, but there was never signage at Prohaska.
One other twist on that was Prohaska was given the permission to continue fishing those ponds for how long? That was part of that was part
Well,
of the
they were
sales
also,
agreement.
they were also stocking it too, right?
Yes, yes.
I thought so.
You know.
Jim?
Just one other comment, that the core plan shows a fishing pier or piers, in the park. Was anyone on the Parks Committee aware that fishing was prohibited? Like, if we're redrawing the plan for all outside recreational purposes, I'm gonna say, hey, we're gonna fish in these ponds. No one in Parks even knew that we couldn't fish in these ponds? Not beating anybody up, I'm just saying it sounds like there was no signs, this was just a document that just showed up from 2018, that unless you were sitting in this room in 2018.
I guess the gist of Prohaska for me is that it's in a process. I mean, we've got camping there, we got all kinds of different things happening there. I think once it starts developing, once we start putting the paths through there and different things, it could reopen, right?
Yeah,
then
and part of that was,
to more of in the parks. I mean, right now, there's nothing to talk about because they haven't developed it yet.
and part of that was the Park and Rec Committee were very encouraging on opening up that property for use. Because it's been so limited. Well, we've had it for 8 years already. So they wanted to see it used. So we did cut the paths. So there's access to it.
I went there one day and it wasn't.
Yeah, and prior to us cutting the paths, we groomed the trails this winter to allow people for use. We did see some comments as far as people using it. They would like to see increased signage, et cetera, just because it is remote and accessing it from Ryan Street. We need to get some signage there until we actually get the entrance, which was based on the master plan off Weston Avenue.
You've got that cut in a little bit right now.
Yeah, on Weston Avenue. But Ryan Street is currently the access at 7403. So it's one of those items that we have talked about recently as far as additional signage for the trails, just so people know, where the loops are, et cetera, how to get back. I mean, if it's a loop, you can't really get lost anyways, because only if they're the mode paths or brushed paths. And then, like I said, the master plan, like Jim stated, does show fishing piers, et cetera, as far as using the park in the future.
And just to clarify, it will be on a regular basis, groomed mode this
Yeah.
year? Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, the motion on the floor, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 37, resolution 2025-003. Schofield Avenue, Normandy Street to Burt Street, preliminary special assessments. It's your pleasure.
I move to approve resolution 2025-003.
Motion by Ermeling to approve,
Okay,
second by Zagami. Any on the question? Go ahead.
Michael, are you gonna change all the apron,
Yes.
all of them?
For the most part, yeah. The curb grades change slightly throughout the project, so. And that way too, I guess everybody is treated the same. When we talk about the public hearing, in the past, we have given credit to properties for, like if they just built their driveway, then we go and remove it. Their initial investment didn't reach its useful life.
Like Firehouse, right?
Correct, yeah, so like Firehouse or Caribou, who just put in theirs, usually used a 20-year life cycle, so if theirs is only 1 year old, essentially they only pay 1/20th of their assessment.
Okay. Any more questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 38, resolution 2025-004, Fuller Street preliminary special assessments.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Cronin,
Well, second.
second by Jordan. Anything on the question? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 39, resolution 2025-005. A resolution to approve the final plat of the replat Green Tree Acre subdivision, project number 30276.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Cronin,
Second.
second by Jordan. On the question. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 40, resolution 2025-006, Weston Avenue, West Phase, authorizing resolution for special assessments. Pleasure.
Move to approve.
Motion by Zagami, second by Ermeling. On the question. Hearing no question. Oh, Jim, I'm sorry.
Yes, so if a connection occurred in year after 2025, our fee increased from the stated 725 penalty assessment. But they would be responsible for whatever the 2035 fee is, or it's retroactive back to today's fee.
It'd be today's dollar amount.
Okay.
Okay, so it would, and it would stay that way how long?
40 years, 20 years.
Through that is the
Agreed.
hookup, yes.
So same thing with the current Weston that's done.
Correct.
Anyone that, any development, anything, same thing. Okay, wow. All right, hearing no more discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Nothing under unfinished business, new business. 41, public drawing for available non-reserved Class B liquor license. Like the drum roll, or, so this is somebody put their names in, they.
Two establishments did.
Okay, all right.
Jim, are there only 2 establishments
There were
with?
5 total. They all got a letter the day after the last board meeting that it was available and that they could put it in by emailing.
And you only heard back from 2, that's what.
Only
it's
2.
doing.
That is
Gee, thanks.
There's, one of them has a little gum on it. Should we pick that one?
no.
I'm just teasing. There's no gum on it, so.
Like that.
Want me to read the other one too, or no?
No.
All right. This one is M&J Hagura Company LLC DBA Asio Buco. So who's that? Asio Buco.
Where is that?
2106.
Or,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Basil
Oh,
used to
yeah,
be.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I've been there a couple times. Wow. Got that one. Can I look at the other one?
I think, yeah.
You registered this one, okay? Time and seller. Mhm. That was fun. All right, let's see. So, under 41, we have, Sobuco. We're done? 41 done. 42, discussion.
We have
The
to,
motion?
Yes, I did put it in as a motion.
Okay.
41 is a motion.
yeah,
To acknowledge.
Let me just see this here, 41. I'm just trying to see that.
I move to acknowledge also.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh.
Under 41, I don't see acknowledge.
It's in the,
It's 239er.
Oh, okay, in there. Okay, so not on here. It's not here.
I got
Okay.
5 of them open. but-
So I'll take your word for it. I'm not there on the agenda. 41, public, okay, so, motion to,
I move to acknowledge Oso Buco as the establishment picked in the random drawing to apply for the non-reserved Class B liquor
by
license.
Cronin,
Second.
second by Wyland. Any more on the discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Huh? Oh, that's smart. Abstention by Zagami, and so moved, or so passed. 42, discussion and or action on adoption of formal policy encouraging and giving preference when purchasing materials, services, and goods from businesses in the village of Weston. Jim?
Yeah, I move to direct staff to draft a policy encouraging and giving preference when purchasing materials, services, and goods from businesses or to businesses in the village of Weston.
Okay, so that's a motion by Pincinel,
Yes.
second by, anybody seconding?
Second.
Second by Wyland. Now on the discussion.
Question.
Okay, go ahead.
I shop as far as I can in the village. For the years, that's the way we like to do it. But many times I went to East Harbor and they said, we don't have it, go to Menard. More than once, many times. And as a matter of fact, I need the item for a door just last week. and he didn't have it, I had to go to North. And that's where I'll pick it up, $10. But, so they can't buy everything in the village. There are still a lot of a shortage of the item we needed.
Absolutely correct, Husheng. And I'll restate that motion or restate what I just said. Draft a policy encouraging and giving preference when purchasing materials. So meaning that we should go to ACE first
Yeah,
before we go to Greaves. We should go to ACE first before we go to Menards.
Should or must? Because it does not have must in here.
Encouraged to.
It's encouraging. So in other words, somebody doesn't go and they go to Menards, are we gonna scold them?
Well, this was to draft a policy and the board can look at that policy.
Yeah.
Our village slogan is literally, it's right here.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's right here, why are we going way over there if it's right here? We talked about briefly in finance, but the nuts and bolts of it were to ship a box of bolts from Menards here was $6.30.
I heard all that.
To send a guy.
It makes
to
sense
Menards
with
to
the,
Get it
with
was
the vehicle and the
$91.
truck and all that. Yep, it makes total sense. Yep.
So even though you might pay $1 more for that bolt at
Mhm.
Ace, they pay property tax in Village of Weston, and it's right here.
I have something to add.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I guess when I see this, I'm a little troubled because I don't look, while we reside in the Village of Weston, I look at this community as a whole, whether it's us, whether it's Wausau, whether it's Rothschild, whether it's Schofield, it's all of us. It's one community. When I look at, I went ahead and looked at the vouchers that we approved earlier tonight. And I actually honestly, truthfully feel that we are already doing this. There was
To a good degree.
almost everything that I saw on our vouchers that went to other outside, to businesses that are outside the village were things that we would have had to go to the village or go outside the village for anyways. I did see a lot of transactions on there for Ace. I saw a couple for Menards. I do feel that we already do this, so I guess I struggle with why there needs to be a formal policy for this. I mean, if we trust our staff to go ahead and find the best possible price for something, what, you know, I know this came up because you questioned why we were going to Greaves. Well, a lot of times Ace does not have something, or they are significantly more expensive. So are we okay with spending more dollars just because they're in the village? I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Barb?
Well, this isn't the first time that this particular item has come up to the board. And I think there was a reason, for example, services or goods. We are required to, within a reason, I believe, if we go out for bids on something and we have a local firm that's bidding on it, but they're higher, I don't think we can go with the local business because there is some law or whatever that we have to take the lower bid unless we don't feel they can handle the project. Now, Michael, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
That's for public works projects, yes, we did take the low bid on a public works project.
Right.
For purchases for government grants, federal grants, we can't have anything that really gives preference to local. That would be against the policy for the federal grants. So that's something to consider too. That's why we have a separate purchasing policy for federal grants, but it's
I
something
mean,
to
I
be
know
conscious
that
of.
there was reasons why you can encourage it, but I don't think you can necessarily enforce it.
I don't believe that's what the action is. It doesn't say forcing anything. It says encouraging.
Okay, as long as it is encouraging and preference, and it's not a must.
I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
What is,
Yeah.
define encourage?
Well, and that's,
What's the penalty if you don't?
well, that's,
Give a local business a shot first before outsourcing.
but who's gonna oversee that, Jamie, is what I'm saying. I mean,
Well, it's going to come to the table anyways for approval, so
it's gonna come here and then we're gonna approve it and then we're
Or
gonna
not,
like scold
or-
or something.
sure.
Husheng?
Yeah, you know, the only thing this policy gonna say is gonna tell the business people in the community, this village prefer to do business with you before we go outside.
Right, right.
I think that's all it's gonna say.
And that's fine if that's where it's kept, because currently staff can live wherever they want. Staff does not have to live in the village. And, so, you know, when you look at it, you know, we have to shop here, but we don't have to live here. And I know there's some situations with fire and police on, as far as reporting. But, I mean, we don't even encourage to live here. You know, you get to live where you want. But as long as this purchasing, in my, I'll vote for it if it's encouraging and preference, which I believe we do. I think you have a good point. I think we try to do that. And we definitely try to save time if we're going somewhere, bolts, fasteners, or.
I do the same thing. I go to Ace for one or
I
two
do too.
bolts here and
I
there
do
all the
too.
time, but
If I've got to
when I
run,
have to-
I'm usually
when I-
upset and I gotta go somewhere else.
when I have to buy $1,000
Yeah.
worth of products, I
Yeah,
go to
but
Menards.
I think it would be a disservice, so if we sit here every month and then go through the purchasing
Oh,
and start saying why. And questioning Michael on his or Travis or whoever, so.
Well, that's what it comes down,
What?
that's what it comes down to
Yeah.
for me.
Where's the
I mean,
teeth? Yeah.
I don't want to be responsible for that. I want to empower the staff to be responsible. And if they're not being responsible, that's the person I want to hold accountable.
Yep.
Why aren't you, you know, if you aren't managing your staff to do what, to me, is the common sense thing. It's, like I say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person that's making that judgment call.
because I review the vouchers and I
Mhm.
to see if I see Menards that I'm gonna sit there and waste staff time to say, well, couldn't you have gotten this at Ace? Why did you do it at Menards? You know, that's,
You know,
that's,
to the point of this being brought up by Jim, over the years, and some of the people have been here a while, I have definitely brought up, you know, we have, especially elections, Pam, I've never said this to you, but I've said it to the previous clerk. Why are we bringing Panera way over here for the election staff? Well, that's what they wanted. Well, maybe they want something in Weston. You know, we got a lot of places
Yeah.
here in Weston. Why can't the food come here? It'll be fresher, it'll be hotter, it'll be quicker, you know? And I pushed on that a lot, because I used to think, what the hell? Why are we bringing stuff
Right.
from 15 minutes away when it's right here? So on that vein, I agree, but I just, but I didn't put teeth to it. I didn't say you had to. I just said why. And I'm looking at you right now, but it's.
always
it had nothing to do-
encouraging.
I was encouraging, right?
I always get the
Yeah.
feel I have such a choice.
Yeah,
And
bingo.
that's
Yeah.
all, that's
Bingo.
all that it's recommending
Yeah.
here.
Okay, I'll vote for this if that's the thought of it, yeah. All right, any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed?
Aye.
No and a no? Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the yes and 2 and a no. Okay, so it's approved. 43, discussion and or action on adoption of a staff efficiency incentive program. Jim?
So I'll make the motion first again and then.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Talk about it.
Yep.
I move to direct staff to draft an official policy to promote and incentivize efficiencies in our operations. This policy should incorporate a method to track these increased efficiencies and monetary savings. And also recognize and reward staff members and departments for identifying and implementing changes which increase efficiency.
Motion by Pincinel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Wyland. Now on the discussion.
Question.
Yes, go ahead.
I think it's difficult to measure the efficiency of the individual. I've worked with a lot of people in my business in the past. Because each of us think different way, do the things different way. And we can, maybe in his mind, that's efficient. Or maybe with his capability, that's his efficiency, he's doing the job, that's the best he can do. And there are some, they're different. They finish the job different way and they do it maybe a couple hours sooner. So I'm not sure how we want to measure that efficiency of the individual.
Jim?
I would agree with your statement, Husheng. I think it would be very difficult to your operator A to operator B and say, this guy cuts the grass X number of acres per hour, and this is X.2 acres per hour. That's difficult to judge. But what's very easy to judge and what we're already doing, I think we're already doing a tremendous job with that. And the biggest part of this is to recognize and capture what we're already doing. Michael has put up multiple times, like what it costs to, I don't know, maintain the streets or whatever that graphic is that you have, and to do what it costs to maintain one road mile in the village of Weston is $4, and what it costs to do it in the city of 10,000 Merrill is $5.16, and in Wausau is $8. So we're twice as efficient as some of our neighbors. We should be proud of that. And when we come up with really good ideas, I remember when we did the building open house tour, Mr. Yonker had mentioned that we did like a group buy with paint and saved, I don't know, $500 a gallon or quart or pint or whatever, when we bought this 55-gallon drum of fancy reflective paint at the same time as the county. Well, that's huge. $500 a gallon times $50 or times 55 gallons. That didn't happen by accident, right? He was looking out for that. He went out of his way to make that efficiency happen. And I think that that's great, and that efficiency should be tracked. He should get recognized for that. I think when we come up with a huge win like that, put the thing in the newsletter, hey, Operator Smith found that, gosh, we can plow this road in half the time if we drop the wing at the same time that we have the plow blade down, and we only have to make one pass instead of two. So I just saved 15 hours of overtime every single time it snows.
So you're-
Equating to whichever.
So you're talking recognition, not monetary. Because if we put this to monetary, certain departments won't be able to gain monetary. They won't be able to, or I could actually see this going negatively, that I'm gonna now buy cheaper or less quality, or I know where my budget is, I'm gonna go lower, and I might be able to incentivize myself. I've dealt with a tremendous amount of bonuses in grocery stores and where I am right now. And I gotta tell you, it's really rare when they actually work. It really is rare. To recognize all day long, pats on the back. You can't do them enough. But if you're gonna incentivize, and then you're gonna have certain departments that can actually gain, and certain ones, I can't see Jessica having a win. How does she get a win? How does certain one of our departments get wins, but yet others have multiple wins? So if it's recognition, I'll vote for it. If we're gonna put this to money, I probably won't be able to vote for it. So I need a clarification to that.
So I can restate the motion. I move to direct staff to draft an official policy to promote and incentivize efficiencies in our operations. This policy should incorporate a method to track these increased efficiencies and monetary savings, and also recognize and reward staff members and departments for identifying and implementing changes which increase efficiency. It could be the, I don't know, efficient of the, what?
Award what?
The word was reward staff members. So even if it's, hey, we have efficient staff member Smith and he parks in the first parking spot, doesn't have to mean, it's like student of the month, right? Like, this is our top performer or their top whatever. I don't think it has to be a $10,000 bonus because you saved the village $100,000. However, if you save the village $100,000 by coming up with some whichever, I think it should be recognized.
Okay.
Yeah, recognized.
All right. Any more discussion? We've got a motion by Pincinel and a second by Wyland.
Is that this original motion?
I don't know if it changed, did it, Jim?
I thought
I did
it
not
changed
change
the
the
motion.
No, he didn't change the motion.
Okay. Sorry.
Any more questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No.
Aye.
So I just want to tabulate that. So we have an ayes. Ayes are who? Jim? Jim is the only aye? And all the rest are nays, okay? So it fails. Let's see, 44, discussion and or action on operation and policy on building inspections in the village of Weston. Jim?
Yeah. So there's some answers to some stuff in here. Some of the context came from speaking with some of the contractors in the village. We don't do inspections on Fridays. They're not thrilled about that. The overall sentiment, I think, was stated well by one of the contractors. His exact words were, contractors answer to the inspections department, not all of us working together to deliver a service. So I just wanted to bring that forward, talk about it some.
Can
We can maybe.
we just stop on Fridays? So can we have what is the answer to Fridays? I mean, why was Friday picked? I mean, I would think that there would be a lesser, wouldn't Friday be kind of sense of urgency to get through the weekend for a contractor? Wouldn't Tuesday or Wednesday be the day to?
No, they
If we're gonna-
typically, we answered it in there. A lot of times, there's the average homeowners coming into the office to actually get a permit. So
Okay,
they are doing their work over the weekend. A lot of the time on Friday is also spent on, it's always been like on village related items. Especially in the summer, you might have one inspector off or something like that. But a lot of times it just gives them a day to catch up in the office on getting permits out, meeting with homeowners, because a lot of times they're taking Friday off to come in and get the permit. Things like that. They don't say no to an inspection, so it's just that it's not advertised and it's more on an emergency. So they do go out and do them, but the majority of them are throughout the week.
I mean, I just gotta say this, Jen, I know it's a lot of years ago, but I got in the middle of a no. Because somebody said no to a resident and the resident wasn't nice. And he needed his driveway done to get the rest done for the bank, but it was no. I actually called that inspector up. And he told me what he thought of this guy. And I said that you gotta put Teflon on. You gotta get this done. And then the second thing was, well, right now though, I'm working on the pool. We gotta get the pool open. And that's just great. We gotta get the pool open. But, you know, we gotta inspect too, you know, so I think it might be, you know, not so cut and dry as we all think. And, I don't know. So Joe, you had a question?
So our service compared to what and the cost, you know, so I've had some experience with Wassa. My grandson did a flip house a couple of years ago. And the size of the bureaucracy they have at Wassa and what a contractor now, you know, young guy, not knowing the ropes, so to speak. I spent a lot of time trying to help him through that. The reality is that we do a ton with half as many, not even half, a third as
Way
many
less,
people,
Way less, yep.
way less, you know, and so when you talk about efficiency, the reason that they really need a Friday or a day is really to be able to say, okay, I can sit down at my desk and do this. Now, to your point, if somebody calls and has a reasonable issue, you know, I agree with you that it'd be great. If they could look beyond whatever it is that this person's been, and I get that, you know, I mean, you get into the headbutting thing, but I think that we have an absolutely fantastic rock star inspection group here. And whatever they think makes them the most efficient, I'm probably voting for.
Well, you brought up Wassa. I mean, I didn't think we'd bring up Wassa, so go ahead.
So admittedly, I found myself in a similar situation, and it wasn't with you, Travis, but a number of years ago when I did some work, when I initially called and talked to Roman, I got the same thing about a Friday. And at the time for me, my only day that I could do it was Friday because the rest of the week I was busy. So I'm okay with not posting hours as long as if we have people who call and ask that we are still accommodating that and not just saying no.
I've been here,
What's
was
that?
that your 2 years that we've never said no.
Well,
Anybody that's asked for one on Friday.
I would never say no, or I would never say we're in-house on Fridays. I would just hey, I got appointments all Friday, you know. You know, if you're working with a private contractor that builds houses, and he's taking 2 weeks off, he'll never tell you he's on 2 weeks vacation.
Right.
I'm working on 4 other houses in that 2 weeks. Yeah, and you'll never know that this person is here or not. I just would never declare our hours like that. Go ahead.
Well,
And
when
then
I
you-
was filling this out and looking at things, I looked at other communities and a lot of them just put the hours. And
Yeah.
at least with these guys, they're telling them
Mhm.
when they're gonna do this. And I've been here long enough. I mean,
Mhm.
Al had set hours. Al only worked 2 or 3 days a week or whatever. He wasn't even
I know.
here
I know.
full time. So
Mhm.
we now have 2 inspectors. I mean, Travis had 14 inspections today, right?
Mhm. Yep.
That he did on his own, and he was the only one in the office because of a plane issue, so, yeah, I think it works for us. I know some people are not happy with it. We can talk when Roman gets back and make sure that we're all on the same page there, but I spend a lot of time with our residents, like probably more than you guys even realize. We spend a lot of time educating and that's a big thing for Roman. If he was sitting here, he really likes to educate and that takes time.
Mhm.
So a lot of people, we have issues now with, there's nobody putting decks on any of these new homes. I just found that out. These people don't know how. The average person does not know how to put a deck on the back of their house. So last summer, he's spending a whole bunch of time with all these different, you know, homeowners who are brand new homeowners mostly, because these are homes going in at Hinter Springs. They're having to put their own decks on. That takes a lot of time, a lot of education, because those laws change a lot. So we'll do whatever you guys want us to do, but I think they're doing a very good job. And you have to realize that people complain.
Yeah.
That's the department we are in.
Yeah, just with you sitting here, Travis, I have never not heard good about you. It needs to be said. So I'm throwing a pat on the back to you right here. But I mean, I never, ever, ever, if I hear a complaint, they actually go out of their way to say good things about you. And then maybe some critiques on some.
There's always a good cop and a bad
Exactly.
cop.
It's
So
whoever they're
that's how
working
this
with.
department
But
works.
I've never
I mean,
caught one
sometimes
yet
I'm the bad
where
cop.
you've rubbed somebody the wrong way. Steve?
I'd like to echo the same comments, and I just want to make it clear, I wasn't intending to throw shade at the planning department by my comment either. All I was saying was that in prior years, I had that experience. So I guess what I'm questioning is, you know, maybe if we have, it seems like we have 2 slots every day, Monday through Thursday, right? Could we, I don't know, maybe take one of those slots on Thursday and move it to Friday morning, so we're not completely excluding Friday? Would that be a possibility?
We can
Or
talk
just-
about
or
it.
Just throw it up. Yeah.
And if someone calls at the last second and you can't accommodate them because your schedule's full, well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's gonna have to wait till Monday. I can't get to it today. I understand that it happens.
We have 2 days to do inspections.
When we think of it here, it's one way, but then when Joel brought up Wausau, it's a whole, and I don't mean to say Wausau publicly, I mean, Wausau's great. But yeah, that's a whole nother animal, and when you say it that way, then, oh my heavens, we're a star, yeah. But Jim go ahead, Bart.
Well, I guess, yeah, you've got to have a day, not necessarily that, like in your instance where that was the only time you could do it. I mean, you have to look at that also. I mean, the residents, sometimes they can't help but ask for the day. I agree, you should probably have your hours Monday through Friday, but you are scheduled on Friday for paperwork because you have to do paperwork. You have to give them time. You can't be running out to inspections and then halfway into a report going out. But I think, well, I haven't I had some people complain a little bit about Friday, but when you explained it to them,
Mhm.
unless that was your only option,
Mhm.
you know,
Sure.
we understood.
Well, we run into this in the clerk's department too, right? Where like, you wanna pay a bill or you wanna do whichever, it can't be like, oh, sorry, we don't take tax payments on Friday, right? You have someone else at the desk, right? So if we have 2 inspectors, could you do port side, starboard side, like flop it so that this Friday you're on and next Friday Roman's on, and so that your work day is Monday, or you know what I mean, whatever that off day is, right? So there's 2 full 8-hour shifts on every day, but on Friday, there's just 1 8-hour shift. or one of the inspectors, and the other inspector, you're off day is Wednesday or whatever it is. Not that you're off, but your desk day, if you will. That would give you the capability. Yes, you might not, I don't know if you have all the same certifications and trainings and stuff that Roman does, probably, right? So either inspector could go to either site at any time and we get anything that we need minus commercial electrical, which is only Tuesday and Thursday anyways, right?
One other thing you have to look at, we also have them down for doing maintenance on the building. Now, sometimes they might need two people to be doing that. That is what they do a lot of times on Fridays also.
Well, like the pool example, yeah.
Right, I said, so I guess I don't have a problem with, for public PR, maybe that you put you down because you would be available if they didn't have any other choice. Just leaving it.
So what
I would tend to agree with that to some extent, but at the same time, like, so me in the party rental business, imagine if I told every customer that asked me if they could come pick items up on Friday, no, we're not here, we're not open on Friday. I mean, I know that this is a village, but to some extent, it's still customer service, right? Like, we need to be able to take care of our constituents here every Monday through Friday. So I'm gonna kind of disagree with that because I do feel like, we should have some hours on Friday. Now, is it our place as a board to justify, to say that, to tell Jen that she needs to do that? I don't know. Part of me thinks that we should have some trust in our staff to run their department the way that they see fit as well.
Well,
Jen,
that's
you-
why I said Monday through Friday as.
Oh, I thought you were,
posting it.
Yeah,
I thought you were saying Friday, you still want it off.
Yeah.
Still would be pretty much their day for paperwork, but if something comes in that needs to be taken care of.
Okay, I misunderstood.
You did say early on in this discussion though, that it's kind of haphazard. I mean, you do some Fridays, sometimes you don't, sometimes you do, right? I mean, it's however the workload is,
It's,
right?
yeah, and so you have
And
to think
so-
too, this department is very, like right now,
Mhm.
normally,
Mhm.
we're not doing a whole lot. Because
Well,
it's, like,
my-
we're
my-
catching up,
my-
but in the summertime, probably when everyone's doing stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they're out there on weekends. I know these guys have to process permits in time, so they're doing that from home.
But my point is, this board doesn't dive into any department. And you know, other than maybe summer hours, but we don't dive in. We don't dive in and tell Jessica how to do her workload or Michael how to do the plowing or anybody else. I think this might be a little slippery slope that if that's how they decide that the paperwork has to get done, that's the way it has to get done. And we need to support it. So,
I think as a board, we could say, hey, we'd
Yeah.
like to see you guys doing stuff on Friday, but whether it's really our
Whether it
place
works
to
or
make
not,
that
yeah.
policy, I don't know if that's.
Jim, yours, this is mostly on action. Actions in the Village of Weston, so it's discussion and action on operation, and it's kind of a back and forth, and if you look at this, it's a lot of back and forth. Were you driving at something in particular, Jim? Or do you have kind of questions and looking for answers?
Yeah, so I was.
Cause I mean, this answered a lot of stuff for me too.
Sure.
I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
that.
So some of this was, how does it actually work, right? We're all learning here. We don't sit in that office or that office or that office 8 to 5, right? We've all got our own offices that we sit in or at the bingo hall or whatever we do. But so some of it was learning more about the department, but some of it was after talking with some contractors and residents in the village of, hey, what's going on, and trying to get some answers to some of this stuff. Like the survey, I think, was one of the answers that were in there. There were like 55 responses to the survey in the last 5 years. So like 11 a year, 1 a month. We do what, 600, 800, 1,000 inspections or like triggering events a month. It's like 1% or something. Like, to take the data that we have that says, hey, we're doing a great job on less than 1% sample of what we're actually doing. I don't think it's valid data.
I know, but okay, in life today, I get a survey 10 goddamn times a day. I go to the dentist, I get one, I go to the, here, I go through a stop sign, I get one from the police department. I get one from the doctor, I get 6 from the doctor on 1 appointment.
Yeah.
I'll be damned if I'm not doing surveys no more. So maybe that might be part of it, that they don't want to. It might be the, you know, how were we?
We're so flooded with it now.
It's just forget it. I don't wanna do it anymore and I don't wanna take my time. If I asked my customers to do a survey, you know, I mean, Jim, if you asked me after you put tires on my car to do a survey, I probably wouldn't do it. But when I leave your shop, I'm gonna thank you for doing it. You know, and I hope that's enough that you guys did a great job. You know what I mean? So-
I beg to differ. I ask every single one of my customers for a review because
Yeah.
it generates SEO. So, but
Yeah.
in this
What's
case,
the SEO?
search engine optimizer.
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm not on Facebook. Okay.
I'm not on
Mhm.
Facebook either.
Oh. I'm sorry, I knew you were, so I shouldn't have said that. Okay. Mhm.
But
Okay.
most people fill out a survey when they have a complaint. I guess that would
Bingo.
help, that would
Mhm.
help us improve,
Mhm. Yeah.
some areas.
You get more reviews at a restaurant on negatives than you do on
You
a
do.
positive,
You
and
do.
that's too bad. Okay.
But isn't that also a pro, given the limited number of surveys that we've had when it's on everybody's?
And how many questions is a survey? Maybe it should just be like. 3 or 4.
Is it how do we do, or what does it say?
It's set up in the 1, 2, 3, it asks about everybody. It even asks about the plan commission and the board, like how, like if you interacted. So it asks, it goes out on every single permit that's done, all of our letters. It's on our basically email letterhead on the bottom, so just interacting with us, somebody can do it. But Michael's on there, so it's anyone that they, you know, it asks who you've talked to.
It is on every email, you're right, it's on every single
If it
one.
can't be completed in
Mhm.
30 seconds or less,
Yeah.
most people won't do it. Like me with my business, every time someone pays their bill, they automatically, and the order gets closed out, they get a satisfaction survey.
Mhm.
And
It's
there's
not very
5
many
lines and
questions.
it's frowny face to smart to happy face, 1 through 10. And then you have an option for comments if you want. That's it. I mean, literally 30 seconds it takes.
Okay.
So I don't
It's
know.
10 questions.
Huh?
It's 10 questions.
No, 5. And then it's not even questions. It's just,
Yeah, it's fine.
yeah,
Smiley
and then
faces,
a place that you can leave a response. That's it.
We could do
Okay.
it together if you'd like. I have it up. We could do, I mean.
So let's get on track here on
Yeah.
44. So where are we on 44? What are we doing? Oh, now we're somewhere else?
She brought up the survey.
Just if you wanted to see. it.
Okay.
That's it.
No, that's the first question.
How many are there?
Not right now.
27. I know, I'm just teasing. I can't keep my mouth shut.
It's 10, like multiple choice questions and then, fill in the blank if you have any additional comments.
Okay.
Maybe we can revise that to 5 questions. Yes or no, and then have a comment line.
Could you, have it 3 questions and then doesn't it sometimes if you answer it in a certain way, then it adds 2 more? Especially if it's a critique,
If-
to
if
dig,
you
to
say
dig,
no,
to dig a
They
little
wanna know
deeper.
why.
Yeah, sometimes
That's a question for Nate.
Yeah.
And we've done that with other
it
surveys.
it can steer you in a different
This
direction.
came out of the 2018 audit that the
Yeah.
department had, so those were questions that were determined through that audit.
We should look at 10 other municipalities and see what they have in there. It might already be done. We might not have to think it. So getting back to 44. We have a motion and a second. Is there any
I
more?
don't think there's even a motion on the floor.
Yeah, oh, I thought there was.
No.
Yeah, to be able to talk about it, Jim and Jamie put it on.
No,
No?
you can back the tape up, but I
Okay.
don't make a motion.
No,
Start
I'll-
talking,
I'll
there's a
hold on.
motion already.
You're saying me when I start talking?
No,
Oh, okay.
whenever we discuss it.
All right. So what do you want to do with 44?
I'd like to make a motion that we allow staff to determine when they need to have time off. I also would recommend that we have the hours posted Monday through Friday, whatever time, and just because having it shown that Friday they're closed can irritate, even though they weren't gonna come in. I don't know if that was a very good motion.
Pam, you got that?
Well, about 3/4 of it, but the tape recorder got the rest, so.
Okay, well, I just think they,
The gist of it is to let the department decide.
Right, but that post it from Monday through Friday,
Mm-hmm.
but they still can be working and just when they get a call, if it's emergency, they can fill it. If not, they can say, could schedule it for Monday or whatever.
Okay, motion on the floor by Ermeling. Is there a second? Second. Second by Pincinel on the discussion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. No by Joe. So carried. 45, discussion and or action on the sale or purchase of property and easements thereof relating to the following parcels. PIN numbers 192-2808-201-0026. PIN number 192-2808-201-0029. And PIN number 192-2808-201-0021. Jim?
I do have a quick question before we make a motion.
Okay.
Because I didn't understand this and I met with Chief Hunt on Friday and he did a very good job of explaining it. So we get a presentation on what exactly is being discussed here before we get a motion on the floor.
Yeah, well, some discussion after the last oversight meeting, I believe with some of the board members that were still there. I zoomed in, I was ill. But I think primarily Jim and the chief, and I think Jamie, right? That had the discussion on this,
Yeah, I mean,
the land or,
and we've discussed it about the civil piece, the
Right.
civil engineering piece
Yeah.
at oversight.
okay. So go ahead. You wanted to talk?
I think Jeremy, I don't know if you want to give a presentation on what's at play here.
Sure.
So that everybody's on the
You want me
same
to wait
page.
until we have it up on the board?
What's the address again, chief?
3,600.
3600.
I apologize. I couldn't.
It's great. By the way, it's a great address. Jen picked it out and it's awesome.
Jen did? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the ranges in there. I just think it's a great address. Easy.
Not as good as 4747. Okay, but go ahead.
It's a good address.
Mhm.
So I think this point probably came up from the day that we purchased property here because there's a gas line that runs through the property. And until we got some survey work done, we really didn't know the magnitude of that. And what has happened here is when we got a building design from the oversight committee, that they have a width of the building, and when they started laying it on the lot with the gas line in there, it became a little convoluted that they had to move the building and twist it a little bit to get the setbacks. And when you're looking at the view on this, we're looking at lot number 2, I believe it is in there. What's that one number on that?
This is where the building would be situated on this lot. This lot is owned by the village.
Right.
Correct, and we own in Mountain Bay, the municipality owns that lot that's highlighted in blue right now. We tried to buy the corner initially, and it was in a family dispute and we couldn't get it. So we have a total of 7.5 acres with a gas line that runs between them, so that's a little bit of the problem. So if we could change the lot line right next to the pond, that's in the middle right there, it has a jog to it. If we could take some of that jog out of that, what it would do for us is it would give us the ability to push the building straight back. And it would give us a square parking lot. Right now, they had to take the parking lot and lay it in there, and I don't have an overlay map of that. Kind of on an angle, and it stretched it out a little bit. And it'd be nice to get a square parking lot. And if we have to trade property, I mean, this is all municipal property, right? This is either Weston or for the building. If we have to trade property on that lower left, and we're always gonna have to give an easement to the ponds, if maybe we have to do some reconstruct, I don't know. Whatever it takes to trade it, to make this whole thing work, and just by having that setback on that upper end, that pond looks a little bit more distinct here. I've been out there and it's not like that right now because of the dry years, and it's not listed as wetland because it's a man-made pond on the maps that we've gotten. So we're just looking to move that lot line over and let the people that are doing the design on the building and the civil engineer lay the building in where it needs to be, and then talk about the lot line at that point. But it's really that point of that lot line that's right on the southeast corner of the pond is a little bit of the sticking point on the design on that. Do you have it up on the screen? If we can get that on the screen, it would be easier.
What would you like on screen?
Like the bluish part? Or-
Page
No, we have the actual, we have the building laid out onto the property, and it's,
273.
there it is. And that's an older drawing. So what happened with that is this parking lot ended up stretching this way because this corner right here is the problem. And they had to take the building and twist it just a little bit, and it'd just be nice to square it back up and get rid of this corner a little bit. So I don't know if that sums it up or if I can answer any more questions on it, but.
But until we have a civil on board, we don't necessarily know what that looks like what you would need.
Well, kind of, because HTG has the drawings on it, and it took that parking lot and had brought it up to the road and twisted it a little bit and then stretched it out to the.
But the
if-
civil
if-
engineer would say, this is the way your drainage flows and it goes into the pond and you'd need to fill in this much of the pond, but you still have to add that capacity because that pond serves all the businesses, so it'd be this many feet on the other side.
Right, but I think if we had a discussion here, then HTG could throw it on there to give it to the civil engineer, and then that might help things out a
And
little.
we've said yes, with oversight to the civil engineer. Yes. Yeah, for both communities, okay. So is that the process we're moving forward to?
Well, I think Chief is wanting to have you say, yes, that we'll work with them on the land, which I think that we would, but I also want you to know that there might be a cost with that. You can't take away the capacity with the pond without adjusting that property somehow.
If there's some trade and some adjusting, I don't think we'd have an issue. If it's just a flat out push it over, then.
Oh, I think it's a give and take, however it works for both entities here, and, you know, at some point, we're gonna have to blacktop or do some gravel to get that road in there, because there's an easement in there, and just for aesthetic purposes, I think we have to work with Michael on that anyway, and I think we're good partners and should be good partners. I mean, this is not owned by me, it's owned by the municipalities and functioned, and so.
Do we have a civil engineer picked or hired yet?
No, that will be on oversight for this week, but I don't think it'll be a selection at this meeting.
So I have a quick question. There's 3 parcels listed. Which parcel is the one all the way to the east? You have 0026, 0029, and 0021.
Our parcel is 2-1. I call it the Christmas stocking parcel is 2-6. That's where the-
29 is the far east.
And 29 is the far east.
Yeah.
Okay.
So outlot or lot or, cause I can read those.
Oh, lot 6.
Lot 6, okay. All right, I see it, yep.
Chief,
Yep.
is the architect gonna do a new layout for this building?
More,
I would like that if we have the understanding that we'll work together, then I'd like to have them put it on there right away so we know.
I think you should give us a layout before we touch anything else in there. Then we know how much land you need toward the pond. Is the pond shape gonna change at all or not?
Okay,
Because if we just move the line, because according to what I saw in there, there's some room in there, but I'm not sure how much. If we don't have to change the pond, we just move the line, that cost what you're talking about wouldn't be there. It may not, and you could be correct too. That's what, if you lay out the building the way you like it, I think that we can make a better decision.
okay.
Michael said.
Michael, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when we did meet with the architect on the preliminary site plan, I told them, as long as the drainage network meets the DNR requirements, I personally was okay with them moving things around, because either you'd have to do something on site or you'd use the regional system, so.
Or he had some first.
Yeah.
So I had a motion for it, but what I didn't want to do is pay the engineer to draw it and then pay him to draw it again. And we're fighting over an imaginary line. I would prefer that the engineer look at this site as it all were belonging to the village of Weston or all belonging to Mountain Bay Metro. And if he had, pull up page 274.
Mm-hmm.
Mark?
If he had have the designer look at outlot 4, 5, and 6 on this and design it that there's no lines between 4, 5, and 6, because 5 and 6 have no line between them right now, right? And so if we have to adjust the line between 4 and 5 somewheres, so be it. like it's an imaginary line.
5 and 6 do totally have a line. The lots are not combined, and the building is set on lot 5 in totality with setbacks.
Yeah, and you can't build over that gas line.
I understand that,
this-
but they own both parcels, they're combined, there's
They are
no,
not combined.
Not combined.
They're not combined.
they're owned by the same person, it doesn't matter.
It does matter because for the zoning requirements, they'd still have to meet each parcel because they were never combined.
Understood, so
Yeah.
we could simply have that re-recorded as one parcel, right? Or no?
They could have a CSM done and the lots combined. Yes, they could.
Okay,
But
and they
I
own both of
don't,
them, so there'd be no acquisition costs, right?
there'd just be the cost of the CSM.
Okay, so we could redraw this at no cost, no buying extra land between 5 and 6. Right?
That would be the Mountain-based decision, and I think they had come to the determination they weren't gonna do that in case there would be adjustments to lot 6, cause it wouldn't be necessary.
I understand that.
But
My
the building
point
is totally situated on 5.
Yes.
This layout is not difficult or it's not expensive to just redraw something in there to show how much land they need, where is the land should be. The line should be. So this not, it doesn't take a lot of time. That can be moved, that building can be moved up and down or whatever. And then we can make a better decision. We just can't go and just do the things without knowing exactly where the building goes. It's not a good idea.
Okay, so you wanna pay for 2 plans, right, Husheng?
For layout this,
Yeah, yes, so pay to have the engineer lay it out, and
right,
then bring it back here,
yeah.
and then if we don't like it, or if it's gotta move, then pay him to move
It's
it
not what we
again.
like it. He's gonna, when he lay it out, he's gonna see what's the impact on the pond.
Yeah, I think,
It's not what we like, what we don't like.
So are we giving the engineer then the capability to lay that out? With the understanding that the building can encroach into lot 4 and it does not have to meet setbacks of lot 4?
Right? Actually, the architect should do that. He's gonna do it. He's gonna lay out the building. And he should lay it out. Don't worry about where is the line is. Lay out the
But
building, then we
It is,
take a look
Husheng.
at it.
So from the oversight committee, that's why it came here, from the Mountain Bay Metropolitan Oversight Board.
And if you get on something.
We were told, we worked with the builder.
Yeah.
The gentleman from Bolt, Tam, I believe is his name. And he said, hey, how it's drawn here is how it has to be. We can't go any farther to the west because the Village of Weston has setbacks. And the Village of Weston owns that property, not Mountain Bay Metropolitan Police Department.
And that's where I did already tell them, if you have issues,
We could
we can work with you.
Yeah, we can just work it out.
So in principle, I guess the ask is the village willing to work with this property line to make it so it's the best use of that property for the future of Mountain Bay Metro and
And that's a yes.
I would say that's a yes.
You see, but, excuse me, they lay out the buildings. And then they come and talk to the neighbor and said, hey, I gotta build this building, I need another 10 feet of your lot. If you don't do that, you don't lay out that building, you don't know what it's gonna be. And how much you land, do you need it or you don't need it?
so I'm gonna make a motion to direct Village of Weston staff to work with Jeremy Hunt and the Mountain Bay. Police Chief Jeremy Hunt and the Mountain Bay Metro Police Department Oversight Board to come up with a land transaction that identifies what needs to be swapped in order to make this building move in the direction that we would like it to.
Motion by Cronin,
I'll second that.
second by Jordan. Any more in the discussion?
I do, I think we should have a layout, you didn't say we need a layout.
Yeah.
They should lay out that building. Don't worry about where is the line is, lay out the building.
Yep.
That's kind of what the intent of my motion was to
Okay.
lay out the building and then to redraw the lines however they need to be. That's
Motion
the intent of my
Motion
motion.
by Cronin, second by Jordan. Any more in discussion?
And then it'll come back here in April.
I don't think it will be April. It might be,
Yeah.
Okay.
just depends on timing, cause we'll talk about when April meeting is, but they could be in the same week. Like we could meet on a Tuesday and oversight would be on the Wednesday, so.
Mhm.
To clarify the motion, the Village of Weston Board is okay with moving that property line left, right, up, down between the Mountain Bay Metropolitan Police Department.
Yes.
Yes, thank
The
you.
Village of Weston like to see where is this building gonna be located. before we make a decision, what we're gonna do with it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 46, discussion and or action on adoption of a policy regarding attorney referrals.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Cronin,
Which one?
Oh, hang on a second. I apologize.
Just if there was any changes, so it would be as presented if that's for the way you were.
I make a motion to approve as presented.
motion to approve as presented by Cronin. Is there a second? Second by Wyland? Second by Wyland. Anything on the discussion? So what this is saying is that, the board together will, will be going to the attorney for anything the board wants and or the administrator. So the administrator will probably get most of the contact and then go that way, or bring it back to the board for presentation.
And board as a whole.
As a whole, yes, as a whole.
Right.
There was some understanding that the president could too. And I don't think it's ever been, actually, once we looked at it, it never
There's no
was.
policy.
What?
There's no
There is no
policy.
policy, so, and the board should do that together and or something from, to the administrator, then the administrator sets it up to come to the board and then a board approves it. But if there's a sense of urgency, the administrator will go right to the, I mean, if Michael needs something, of course, you guys talk, boom, Jen, boom, okay? So that's the gist of this. Hearing no more discussion, all those I'm sorry, you want one?
Well, I was just gonna say, in the past, we had individual board members that kept running
Yep.
to the attorney and the bills were going
But
up.
that stopped. That's, we
Yeah,
haven't been doing
that's
that
why I
for
said I
a long
thought there
time.
was a
Yeah.
policy on
There was
that.
nothing formal ever.
We're just
adopted.
Okay.
we're just cleaning it up.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Discussion and or action on release of a portion of TIF development incentive for the property located at 2302 Schofield Avenue, project number 202-40110. What's your pleasure?
All right, I'll move to approve the reimbursement of 75% or $337,500 of the original $450,000. TIF two reimbursement for the project at 2302 Schofield Avenue to the developer 6207 RLSS LLC. And I'm doing this on the basis that according to the report from staff, over 75% of the project is completed. And this developer has a longstanding history of working with the village.
Motion by Cronin. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Zagami. On the question, Jim?
As of 3/16/24, Eval shows this project is under review and shows that building elevations are not approved. Have the building elevations been approved?
They have, yes.
The development agreement required substantial completion of the project. The definition in the development agreement of substantial completion is stated as follows. The occurrence of each of the following: a certificate of occupancy is issued by the appropriate governmental authorities for the new building as applicable, and the project architect has issued a certificate stating that the building has been substantially completed in accordance with the plans. With that being stated, question one, do we have a certificate of occupancy, conditional occupancy, or temporary certificate of occupancy issued?
There is one, yes, for Firehouse. This is an interesting
Which is,
project because it's a shell. So essentially, they could just build the shell. And each business has to come in separately for it, so.
Build up, yeah.
For build out, so there's two other ones being built out right now. So we know that it's not fully completed, but essentially, as soon as spring comes, they're pretty much gonna have, they've got the majority of their landscaping installed. I think it's just the west side that they don't have done. So we can't verify site completion until spring. They're asking for a partial reimbursement back. That's why we're bringing it here. So that's your purview if you want to hold them to the development agreement or give them partial. 25% that we're holding would take care of us definitely putting landscaping in if we have to, but that's not gonna be an issue.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. And then go ahead, Jim.
yes. So that's A temporary occupancy or just straight up occupancy was
I
issued?
believe they have occupancy for a firehouse.
Okay, good. Do we have a certified document by the project architect that states it's complete?
I don't believe we have that yet for the entire building.
Okay, so in our development agreement, we did require that.
So that would be before we would give the final 25%. That would be part of.
Says before payment, substantial completion, and the definition of substantial completion includes those words.
Correct. That's why we're
Okay.
bringing it to you.
I understand that, so we want to break the check contract, that's fine. The development agreement states a minimum assessed value of $2 million is to be achieved. Has the village assessor verified this and that this has been met as of today?
I don't know what he has the assessment totally yet. I would have to verify that with Greg. It wouldn't reflect, because it wouldn't have been as January 1, so it wouldn't reflect in land records right now.
I understand your concerns, trustee Cronin, but we drafted this development agreement to protect the village, and I understand you can put in a lot of bushes for $75,000. But the developer signed this agreement that says, I will have substantial completion, you'll pay me some of it before substantial completion. That's what the agreement said. This is significantly more than many of the other development agreements we found on Schofield Avenue. None of the delays in this project have been at fault of the village. This project has been amended more than 5 times, so that's not our fault.
I don't know if those amendments are really anybody's fault in particular, aside from the developer just wanting to get the most value out of the property, which would be in our best interest. I mean, he's gone from what, 3 tenants to 5?
Right.
I mean,
And one of the major tenants pulled
yeah,
right
Correct,
away
yes.
and decided to stay where they were and not move. Yep. Okay. Any more discussion?
No, I just don't know how we can take action to go contrary to our development agreement.
Well, we can, it's partial.
it's not full payment.
It's not full payment.
I mean, to be fair, the developer's agreement doesn't outline whether it's supposed to be full payment or partial payment. I mean, here's another thing I'll throw at you. So what if it takes 3 years for those other 2 entities to come in? Do you expect them to be built out for something that may or may not ever come to fruition there? I mean, I would think that, like, if I was building that building, that I would leave the shell until I have a signed lease agreement with somebody, so I know what needs to be built. That's what I would do. Maybe I'm wrong.
So I'm not saying that all 5 spaces need to be occupied. All I'm saying is the agreement stated there would be occupancy, which we've just verified there's occupancy of 1 suite, right? I'm good with that. We don't have a certified document from the project architect. They have their own architect on staff or work closely with one. I don't think it would be a problem to get that. And I don't think it would be outlandish to, the whole idea of awarding TIF funds is so that you can promote development, right? And so if promoting development, if we are promoting development, don't we want to see that that they built what they said they would do? Hey, we want to make at least a $2 million valuation of this parcel, right? From these 3 smaller ones that we combine, and it looks really good. It's a great project. But I just think we're doing a disservice to the village of Weston by not saying, hey, look, we actually did get all of this. They don't have all 5 tenants in, but they do have occupancy. We asked for occupancy. We are asking for that letter to come from their architect. And we did reach out to the assessor. And while the assessment for 2025 or 24 doesn't meet the $2 million, we have in writing from Greg Schmidt that, yep, as the building sits right now, as soon as he plugs his bushes in and paints the stripes or whatever he wants, that this thing is good for $2 million. I don't think that's too much to ask.
What was this property supposed to be valued at when it was?
2 million, it's in the development agreement, I can show you the page.
So it's a proven developer.
That's where I was gonna, so I would tend to, if we were working with, I don't know, T-Wall.
If this is a
Enterprises,
one-time
I would
deal?
probably tend to agree with you, but we're working with a developer who has worked with this community time and time and time again. I would challenge you to give me one time where he hasn't done what he said he's gonna do. I mean, he has come forward every time with every change, we've worked with them. I don't see any reason that we can't extend a little bit of an olive branch, pay out 75%. The project is just about there and be done with it. And then when those other couple little pieces come in, we pay out the other 25%.
Okay. Any more? Hearing none?
No, yeah, no.
Nope. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No by Pincinel. Motion approved. Let's see. 48, discussion and or action on Wisconsin Public Service easement in Yellow Banks Park.
Motion to approve the easement request from Wisconsin Public Service for a 12-foot wide easement for underground gas utility on the eastern edge of Yellow Banks Park, as shown in the attached exhibit alpha for easement document 3328444.
Motion to approve by Pincinel,
I'll second.
second by Jordan. Anything on the discussion?
Question.
Yep.
Michael, in the agreement, there is no place that if they come over there with the dozer, they cross the park, they're not gonna repair that. I think that should be there, and it should be seeded.
Yeah, I mean, number 5 for restoration,
It's pretty bad.
and it says they'll restore the land as nearly as is reasonably possible to the conditions existing prior.
Each land,
Uh,
where they're gonna put the gas line.
Correct.
What about the rest of them? He's gonna drive through the park to get to those areas. Where, I think it should say, wherever the
All
damage is
restoration. Yep.
through the
Yeah.
construction, they have to repair it and maintain it.
Sure.
I think that'd be pretty normal, but we should probably
Yeah.
spell it out.
I would agree.
Yeah. Okay,
They're not good with that stuff, so
so
it shouldn't be there.
do you think you'll just carry on with that, Michael?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 49, discussion and or action on questions for annual employee survey. I do gotta tell you that I think the questions are excellent. I think we're gonna narrow it down. But I think that's a really good assortment of questions.
So at Finance and Human Resources, they actually brought up about maybe seeking a third-party vendor that would have already prepared questions that would do this out of house, not in-house. And would like a exploration of a third-party source, and them asking their questions then would put our answers against a more national market than just internally here. And if that would be cost prohibitive, reaching out to maybe a neighboring municipality and asking if they would do the survey, just so it would be truly anonymous and separate from being done in-house.
So is there any surveys that we're doing right now that are third party? I mean, oversight is inside. So what other surveys, we did one a while ago for Safer, that was inside.
No, it was Safer contracted. Was that part of your strategic plan? Did it, was,
So we've had, all the ones on our strategic plans were done in-house, but we did have one that we just completed that we don't have results for yet,
Okay.
that were done by university.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't know what everybody else thinks about a survey like this. Like, we just did one for our company. And in my mind, I envision that when I do that, when I do my 20 questions back in and they want it raw, they want it really wild. Some way, somehow, they've got a little thing in there that was Maloney. There is no doubt in my mind that they know it's Maloney that did this. And I let them have it on some issues, and other things I praise like crazy. So I get the intimidation sometimes, or maybe the reluctance to do a survey, or you don't say what you feel. But you think a third party would do better than in-house?
they had just asked that it be explored. Two of the committee members had expressed that that's how they handle it, how they operate. And Dennis Farr had said he would also share some questions that they ask at LNS as samples.
Well, it's up to the board. I was surprised when we did yours with that I was the caretaker of the questions. And I was very surprised with the answers. I really was. I thought it was very candid, and I thought I was very happy with the results. So anyway. Okay, I mean, what does the board think? Should we go out? You were part of this committee and who else was part of you were too? You two, what do you two think?
I would like to know what the cost would be
Oh, okay, yeah,
for something like that. I mean, if the cost is way out of line,
yeah.
we just can't afford it.
Yeah, what do you think, Jane?
I'm willing to explore it. I mean, we were hoping to put this out in April, May timeframe, so we would have another month
Yeah.
to do that research and bring it back.
Jim?
Yeah, being anonymous was one of the things that the human resources
Worried about?
board came about with, and then also if you use one of these third-party outfits, they do it for other municipalities. So you
Yeah,
can see, we have the same questions that go to the city of Chicago or the big city of Merrill or whichever. They all get the same set of questions, so you can rank and you can see, well, gosh, our parks department staff is way happier with question one, I look forward to coming to work, than the national average is 75% and we're at 87%.
Oh, we get rankings like that from a third party, you think?
Yeah.
Oh, we would.
Yeah, it's
So
not just.
being that it's the first one, this is maybe our chance to do it in-house. Would we do it third party and then go in-house in 3 years because of cost savings? I have no idea. But maybe we explore what it would cost third party and try it.
Agreed.
Yeah, what does the board believe that? Agree? Does somebody, did we have a motion in? No, I don't think we do. Shoot, I thought we'd be. So let's put this up on, let's get it up on the floor first.
Move to defer action until April.
Oh, okay. Well, so, but they're gonna get details on the third party.
So HR already put that in motion, yes.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, but the
Okay.
board has to actually do the final.
Would we do the final by approving that next month?
Yeah, I
Or
think
should we do it right now and approve it?
your motion could actually be just to accept the recommendation from Finance and Human Resources, which was.
Let's do that and then it's not deferred, then it starts the ball rolling faster. So who made the motion? You did?
I'm good with that.
I'll withdraw my motion.
Okay, so make a motion, somebody.
There's literally an hour difference in time from HR meeting to us meeting. Actually, it's a day sooner because HR meets on the 21st and the board meeting will be on the 22nd.
But we're gonna be approving tonight's HR finance, correct? Next time. We didn't approve it tonight.
Well, so because the first is a Tuesday, the 15th is actually the third Tuesday.
Yeah, I
So
looked
we're
at the
gonna-
wrong
Because of the
day.
election, we're gonna move it. Because we need to get to planning. Cause Jen usually puts a stink up that she's gotta have everybody in place for.
I already went
Just
through my
need it by May.
But you plan would meet on the 14th. By statute, the third Tuesday is the switch. So I think the conversation tonight would be, do you want to meet on April 15th? Because finance technically couldn't meet, you wouldn't have a chair or vice chair for your reappointments. We didn't meet the 15th, couldn't meet on the 21st.
When, April 15th?
One thing, the plan commission, I will have a public hearing for someone and I would not be able to have that on your meeting agenda. It's the day after.
Because there's no Monday, the first Monday is actually the 7th.
Yes.
Yes, okay, got it. So we'd be actually meeting in the second week, Michael?
I was gonna say it. I mean, that's agenda item 54, but some of our bids that are going out that will need board action for approval. Oh, no, never mind.
We'll be
Those will be
early.
on the 9th. Those will be
earlier.
okay.
Yeah, we'll be earlier, yeah.
I was thinking I needed the extra week.
You could also meet on the 15th just to do reorganization and then have a meeting on the 22nd, but it's just the first is the Tuesday, so that it bumps everything up.
Do you wanna wait to 54 or you wanna?
Well, I apologize. Did we have the motion to accept
So-
the?
We had, no, there was a motion and then Jim with trustee Pincinel withdrew it. So there is no motion.
Okay, so before I make a motion, there was action taken at Finance and Human Resources tonight, correct? And
Yes.
what was that? Please.
Just seek out what prices would be from a third-party vendor and available third-party vendors. And if not a third-party vendor, that ask neighboring municipalities as a plan B in case we weren't comfortable with those costs.
So that took place before this meeting, so we could
Yes, it
just
did.
make a motion to,
Accept that
to accept the,
recommendation.
from Finance and Human Resources. Here's my motion.
Second.
That was your motion?
Yeah,
Oh,
she
okay.
seconded it.
Second by Wyland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Jesus. 50, discussion and or action on installing driveway at Municipal Center onto Ross Avenue.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve by Zagami,
Second.
second by Jordan. On the question.
Discussion.
Go ahead.
I got some too. Jim?
Everybody's got their hand up. This is the one. In theory, I think it's a great idea. In reality, I think it's a terrible idea. In 15 minutes, we're gonna put a roundabout right here. You're
This
gonna
way.
take,
It's gonna go this way too. Yeah, it's gonna actually shift a little bit to the east.
it doesn't matter. It's at that.
Well, It
intersection.
matters a lot because this is gonna dump right into it.
Sure.
Yeah.
But this yard will be a right in, right out, no matter what you do.
Mhm.
You're not gonna be able to turn left because traffic there will never stop. It's already difficult to get in and out of this yard.
Right.
For voting, you're gonna come right in here at the second driveway, and you go right out there at that driveway. And you're gonna turn on Eau Claire or you're gonna turn on Concord, and that's the only way you're gonna get out of here to go left. You're gonna go right to go left because you'll never get out. If you put an entrance there, it'll work for one election, maybe. That's gonna be gravel. It's gonna be expensive. And when it's all done, you'll never be able to turn left. It'll be cool to get a truck in here, like Michael can get his equipment in here, probably easier, but.
Like,
Would
can I go
that
first?
work the
Can I
same
just-
way though?
I- I
If there's a
wanna go first.
roundabout, you can go out here, you turn right, you go around the roundabout and get left.
Well, that'll be fun.
But trying to
People
get
see
out
me
of
go
here.
do a full circle. No, you'd go right. My question is, this is, yes, it is it's our space. It's on the right, there's two duplexes there. There is a section of land between the two duplexes. When, 3 years ago, it was for sale for $30,000. I talked to Keith Donner about buying it when we were doing this. And I said, well, we gotta do this quietly so we can get it for the 30,000. Keith Donner made a call. And a realtor bought it and then it went to $50,000 for about 6 months. Now, it isn't listed for sale. But I bet you if you called that realtor that has that, it'd be $50,000. The placement of that land, I know it's in between the two duplexes, but it dumps from the back parking lot. You don't have a truck coming, over by the generator and then taking a severe left from a driveway from people, the hundreds every day that come in to do the bills for the drop-off box, right? And I'm sarcastic as hell, but you gotta take a left with a big piece of equipment. If we use that parcel between those two duplexes, you would just drive in and out.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, yes, it'll probably add 50 grand more,
No.
but in the
Yeah, I
long
wasn't
term.
thinking of using that for
In the long
staff or
term,
anything.
yeah, can you just highlight where that spot is? Oh, yeah, there it is. It's right in the corner. It actually matches up perfectly. But if the blue one there, you have to get that big white thing. But if you move that over there, now look at how close you are to that roundabout. And I think, am I not correct in saying that the roundabout's gonna shift east?
It does, yeah, but.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I mean, is that even gonna be doable? I mean, if that was on the XX, Marathon County would never let us dump out that quick. They wouldn't give us access. I don't know if that's the right spot. That's just my.
Well, that the reason I put him made a motion to discuss this.
Yeah. I know. We're
See
just
how far
discussing.
We are from that.
We're just discussing, I know. And here we are talking out loud and then an empty parcel probably just went to 75,000.
But you're saying that if we used the empty parcel, we would be farther away from the roundabout?
You'd be farther away, you'd be that whole bigger duplex that the Christensen used to own. And you'd line up to exactly to the back fence line of our back lot.
Okay, because I was
And
worried about
yeah.
what you were talking about.
Right now.
I can get on board with the idea. I agree that we need another access on the backs, whether it's that or we can somehow get access to, what road is that right there?
That'd be a dream.
If we could somehow do that too, that would be great. But
Defendants and.
if this was gonna be another November style election, I would,
Yeah, that's not
I can see
coming.
the urgency. I just don't think we're not gonna have the same type of turnout. So I don't see the urgency in getting something done in the next 2 weeks prior to an election.
Well, you can do it in 2 weeks.
That's what it said.
Well, I
These guys are
read,
good. They can knock a couple trees down and throw some gravel in it.
They could have it done in a day.
oh my God. Well, no, I'll just drive over the damn curb then. Just, take a few trees down and just drive through. Let's hang on. Seatbelt in, 5 harness. What?
Where is that one? The one that you're talking
Well,
about?
all the
Right.
trees are,
Right here, this one.
Okay,
Here's the Christensen one, here's the Gilbertson one,
alrighty.
and this is the one that goes right into our fence line in the back. Mhm.
When I was looking at this one.
In fact, the guy that bought that, I believe, is the guy that sold us this through Christensen, through Jerry Gimble. I think he jumped in the middle of it. Yeah, Shane.
Marco, could you draw some line in there to show a couple option?
Would we close that one then? The current?
Yeah,
This one right here?
No, would we close?
Up there?
the current? Yeah,
Oh, no.
okay.
No, we got, and that's just GB produce.
I know.
That
but I
doesn't
mean-
show our two, yeah.
But I mean, our driveway, but no.
Oh, no, we
we
could
do
never,
that
we could
there,
never
right.
give up those two.
Okay.
And it would be just accessibility, to some of the shop stuff and.
then you're adding another gate too, right?
No, it would, so it would extend, like if you were out in on the east side or south side there. I don't know. If you had an aerial of our actual, as you come out of the drop off area. That would just be a straight shot.
Agreed, but in that parcel to the east.
Oh, yeah, the parcel to the east, then that would be need to
gated-
be a gate,
Yes.
yeah. Correct.
But you'd be through the other gate, the backlot gate, right?
It would be access
You
to
would
the
get
back
that,
lot,
Yeah.
but you'd have to gate it because we already paid the fence the rest of it, so.
Yeah, unless we, yeah.
So the sense of urgency of this 2 weeks, which I didn't realize was here,
No.
is not there.
No.
I don't think.
Yeah, so if that's not there,
Yeah.
I float the idea of if this truly was something we wanted to do. We'd probably switch gears and quickly make a gravel road,
To see
but
us explore some other options.
we can look at other options, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, show us on the map, we can see it. If is over there or over there, doesn't work.
Sure, okay.
All right.
Yeah, if I can say something, it just kind of started because Jamie and I and Chief Hunt and Captain Aldrich all met to kind of talk about the election and the flow and Camp Phillips Road and then Michael came in and we kind of were talking about options. We have other options, but this one we just thought, well, we would bring it up and see what everybody said and that's how it started.
No, good discussion. What are we doing, tabling this or?
We have a motion on the floor to approve.
Can deny it, I mean,
We can just say no.
no, I think they should come back with us with some option.
Yeah, so you want to vote on it? Okay, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
So carried. Wow, that's a first. That was actually kind of fun. All right, 51, discussion and or action on 2025 salvage base course crushing contract bid results.
Move to approve.
Moved to approve by Zagami, second by Jordan. Anybody on the question? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. 52, discussion and or action on Schofield Avenue, Normandy Street to Birch Street, construction contract bid results.
Motion to approve the Schofield Ave reconstruction contract to Haas Sons Incorporated for a total project bid amount of $6,248,725.25.
Motion by Cronin, second by Zagami on the question. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. 53, discussion and or action on billable rates. Oh, I didn't hear, there's so many at once, I didn't hear it.
Based on the analysis, I think that's pretty good.
$5, $10, $15.
I make a motion to acknowledge the rates for billing outside entities as presented.
Motion by
We need
Ermeling.
them approved.
What's that?
We need them
Oh,
approved.
yeah, you read the committee. You read-
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's okay.
I move to approve the rates, said better, for billing outside entities as presented.
Motion by Ermeling,
Second.
second by Cronin. On the discussion? Hearing none, All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 54, discussion and or action on April Board of Trustee meeting date. Hey, don't take your seatbelts off yet. We gotta taxi up to the gate. Discussion and or action on April board. I'm sorry.
You look so defeated.
Elbows up on the table. Discussion and or action on April Board of Trustee meeting date. What did we decide? Are we doing 2 or 1? Are we doing the 15th and 22nd?
Well, if we do the 15th, we would be able to do the 21st instead after finance.
Yes, you could, yes.
So are we just doing a short 15?
The
Just
15th
to
really then would just be the reorg. So
reorg,
it would
okay.
just be the
All right.
establishment of.
Is everybody okay with that?
Does it have to happen then though? Couldn't it just happen on?
Then you don't have committees for the meetings on the 21st because
Yeah, you would, you'd have HR, finance, you wouldn't have them done.
your citizen committee members go to the end of the month. Trustees terms end on the 3rd Tuesday.
Mhm.
So you don't have a chair or a vice chair of that meeting.
For any of the committees.
Jim, we've never done this right. This is the, honest to God, we never have. This is the first time that Jamie brought it up at the last meeting that I was at and it was just so bizarre because we were always kind of panicking at the very end. And now we're kind of ahead of the game. So this is very unusual for us.
Usually I don't have plan commission.
A lot of it has to do with how the dates fall this year, though.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because
We
of
may have
that.
been doing it right,
Because
but
money's
this year
not,
it doesn't
yeah,
work out.
I got a feeling we weren't doing it. So what are we doing? 15 for reorg and 21 for the 400 pages?
Yeah, we don't conflict with
307, excuse
safer,
me.
no, because you're the second. Yeah.
We're gonna do Tuesday.
There'd be a Tuesday the 15th.
6 o'clock.
I need somebody to say, let's get some action. Let's get this on the floor.
I'll make a motion to set 2 meeting dates in April, one on the 15th at 6 o'clock and one on the 21st at 6 o'clock.
Motion by Cronin for 2 dates, 15th and 22nd, both at 6 o'clock for the board.
Did you say 21st?
15th
Did I
and
say
21st.
22nd?
Mark
I said 22nd.
I meant to say 21st,
Yeah, but
because
you
we want to
did.
keep it on Monday,
You
right?
did, and I said it.
Yeah, that's what I thought I
15th and
said.
21st.
15th, 21st.
Second? Second by Ermeling. Any more on the discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Motion to move into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin stats. Sure, let's take everything else. Let's see, attorney referrals? None? Administrator referrals? Chief Hunt referrals? Chief Pinky referrals? None? Okay, guys, you can go. Remarks from trustees. Any remarks?
Yeah, I'm just curious if maybe we should keep, kind of do park project as a standing item. Or if we're just going to talk about it in parks. I think a $14 million project probably should have its own standing agenda item.
I know that was the discussion at the last meeting and it would be standing on committee, on parks, but it would come here quarterly. That was the determination of the board at the last meeting.
Well, we're gonna get it from parks every month. Of what you're gonna be talking about, right?
I mean, but parks, they meet, the next meeting would be next week, but
Parks will meet after us. We'll get month-old news for parks, but which is fine. But know that
When does parks meet? The 20,
next week.
yeah, next week? 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
For 15,
Yes.
and send the invitation out.
yeah, would you make a note to send an invitation for the 15th?
Okay.
If I put it on the calendar, it was-
Yep, no.
And just,
Parks.
yeah, I guess a couple things I missed with our meeting today. I apologize. So, we are scheduling, with the CVB to create video, with kids testimonials to put that, into play. And.
CDB and Marcus, right?
Yes.
Kind of together? Okay, good.
Well, the
That's what I thought I
CVB
saw.
has their own production.
Right,
So
okay.
we're using them.
Okay.
So there's no out of pocket. And then Marcus did purchase a Kennedy Park project domain so that we can put 2 links on there, one going to DCR baseball and the other one going to our village website to direct them to the
And
project.
Dino was flipping out on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, come on, come on, come on, come on. Somebody grab that.
And hockey too.
Hockey too? Okay. Thank you.
And
No,
then I
that's
think Tim
perfect
White
then.
was asking for showcase material for our area. To update that. So my suggestions were Kennedy Park kayaks, launches and bike trails.
Yeah, when is Yellow Bank's gonna get done? Kayak.
Plan on starting in June.
I mean, we have 3 kayak launches that somebody here used to bitch about all the time. But now I'm on board, so. Mhm.
So if anybody has anything else, we can
Yeah.
add to that.
Good. Okay. Anybody else? Joe, you said no? You said no?
There's the concert at Kennedy Park, which is kind of a first. That would be something to showcase
Yeah. Definitely.
in August, I think, correct?
Yep.
August 20th.
Yeah.
It's not the beer one. The Oktoberfest got pulled, but there is still one, yeah.
Yeah, but Wassa area events can help us there, because they booked that. The
Right.
entertainment and, but they could,
Mhm.
we could talk about the concerts off the square.
Mhm.
Okay. Shane? No, Barb? Nope, I don't either. Happy St. Patrick's Day. You guys good, more?
Comfortable,
All
yeah.
right, we're good. All right, so future
You're
items,
not
you got that?
anxious,
Now
are you?
we're gonna go in the motion to close session.
Get kicked out, so you're just gonna leave.
All right. Motion to move into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin stat 19.85 parent 1, parent E. Deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session to wit. Bullet point residential waste and recycling material collection contract.
Motion to go into closed session.
Motion to go into closed session by Cronin,
Second.
second by Wyland. Roll call vote, please.
Maloney,
Yes.
Aye.
Ermeling,
Aye.
Jordan,
Yeah.
Pincinel,
Yes.
Wyland,
Yep.
Sagami.
Aye.
We are now in closed session.
The door.
Possible action on closed session items? And we got enough time, that's for darn sure. We're definitely starting this early.
I'll make a motion to send the residential waste and recyclable material collection contract out for bid. As part of the bid, I would like to continue the service of the complimentary municipal collection as well as the bulk item drop off.
Second.
Second by Zagami. Any more on the discussion?
If there's anything anybody else wants, please add it.
Jim?
Do you want timelines within like 3, 5, 7, 10 or?
Yeah, I think
Then
that,
fi-
With an option to renew at the end of any of them?
Sure.
yeah, 3, 5, 7, 10.
If you want to make that amendment, go ahead.
Okay. Or you want to just make a motion?
Motion to amend the motion to include that language.
Okay, motion by Pincinel,
I'll second it.
second by Cronin to amend 3, 5, 7, 10 to add that to the language. Now on the amendment. On the amendment, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. On the original, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Got all the rest done? Look at this.
Motion to adjourn.
By Ermeling,
Second.
second by Wyland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. We are adjourned at 8:50 PM.
Oh, it was 5 minutes.
Yeah, you were in a death.